up, everyone? Welcome to the Patio Slave Podcast. This is episode 21. The Patio Slave Podcast is officially old enough to drink with us, which is nice. And it's July 31st, 2020. So we're moving along here in the summer. And just wanted to throw out our social media outreach. You can find us on Spotify, where we're rocking some pretty heavy playlists from our episodes to kind of, go back and jog our memory on those songs. Tone's doing some really cool videos on YouTube to kind of have a visual to our interviews and all of our segments and all our silliness, which is cool. And you can always find us on Twitter. Kind of, maybe we might be trolling here and there. Who knows? I don't know.
maybe.
Just any kind of engagement. We're not canceling anyone or anything like that. And yeah, you can find us on all of those. If you want to send us an email, we're always looking for ideas and kind of some overall feedback. It's the patioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And we want to do some shout outs too, right, Tom?
Yeah, we had an Instagram follower, in my headphones.
Nice.
He liked the Bandicap segment last week talking about the butthole surfers. So thanks for listening and thanks for posting it today. That was cool to be tagged in a photo today. So Instagram @PatioSlave. Check us out there too. All right. Yeah. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I've been drinking the whole time. I didn't know we had to wait till 21.
Newsflash.
Well,
whoops. Don't tell anybody. All right. So the set list. Yeah, we got a decent amount of stuff to talk about tonight. Couple of our artists that we are very into put some music out, new music, new album announcements, stuff like that. And then we have our live music update. We've got a lot of stuff in there today. I'm not going to give too much away right yet. And then another band that we're a rap duo we're into has their own marijuana strain now, which is pretty cool.
ooh.
Right up Nate's alley with what he does. So, and then the segment tonight, I think we've settled on the name that Nate gave it, Bandvantage. So it's kind of the yin and yang from last week. We had Bandicap, where we thought maybe that the name held some bands back. In this situation, it's the name kind of elevates them or lends credibility or fits the band or fits the music perfectly. So that's the segment tonight, the Bandvantage.
Yeah, and the thing is, getting back to, and actually we'll segue right into it, but the new music from Corey Taylor of Slipknot, Stone Sour fame, and Marilyn Manson also put out a single off his upcoming album. I don't know when it drops, but the interesting thing about that is they were midweek releases, right? Wasn't it Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Weird.
Which is crazy. I doubt it was coordinated, which makes it even weirder.
Yeah, that is strange. Actually, I remember because I was driving back down from NorCal, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, these just came out. I can, pull these up as I'm driving." So I wonder if there's some logic to that it's midweek. People are kind of busy, carrying on their week, and rather than it be a Tuesday night or Friday release.
Yeah, Wednesday was weird. It was cool. I woke up Wednesday morning, had to drive down about a half an hour away to work, so I tossed those on in the car. I have thoughts. Who wants to go first on what they think about the Corey Taylor songs?
Twan?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
All right, so he dropped 2 songs, almost like a Digipack single or something.
Yeah.
2 songs, Black Eye Blues or Black Eyes Blue.
Black Eyes Blue.
Black Eyes Blue, and then CMFT Must Be Stopped. So I assume that's Corey motherfucking Taylor Must Be Stopped.
Yeah.
All right, here's my takes. The latter song, that CMFT song, it stunk.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
Okay. All right.
It was very WWE intro music. And I think there was actually a wrestler had a cameo in it. I think I read that. And also he has like a championship belt on in the video.
Yeah.
The highlight of that song was Tech 9.
Yep.
Was Tech 9 for me. And then on Black Eyes Blue, I thought that was a great song.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was by far the better of the 2 songs. It actually reminded me of the choruses, reminded me of kind of like a Def Leppard layered vocals approach. And it reminded me of that 18 Visions self-titled album where it was basically like a Def Leppard tribute where it was like layered vocals, and I loved that album, but it reminded me just of that type of approach. I loved that song. CMFT, dude, I didn't. Not for me, dog. Who's that? Randy Jackson from
Yeah.
from American Idol.
Can I go next?
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. So it's funny you mentioned the Def Leppard because I thought listening to Black Eyes Blue is 80s hair metal making a comeback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just felt like this song could have been a Motley Crue song.
Yep.
It could have been it was probably the stuff he grew up on. He's like, I want to make a song like that too. I know I can knock that out of the park, and I think he did with that song. That song is cool. But it definitely feels like it's 40 years after it probably would have hit the airway. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but glossier maybe. It felt like that to me. As far as the CMFT, the first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, I'm not sure I love this. I thought there were two should have only been one rap verse, Tech Nines. I don't think we needed the other one. It made the song a little too long for me. I might have liked it a little more if it was a little shorter. At the same time, I just listened to it again before we went on, and I liked it better the second time because it is catchy. It does have like the chorus part and him just screaming "C motherfucking T" is kind of cool. But you're right, it does have a WWE entrance music. Like he's ready to just drop a Stone Cold Stunner on somebody.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because Twan, the way you just like straight up said it, pretty blunt. And for me, it was like I played, Blue Eyes like 4 times and played the other song like once, and it was just a natural thing. Like, oh, I want to hear this again. I want to hear this again. But the other song with Tech Nine, I'm like, oh, I'll listen to it eventually. So it was almost like a passive, like, oh, like maybe I don't like it yet. I don't know because I don't really know. It's only one spin, but the other one I listened to like 4 times because it initially I was like, oh, this is a really good song, and it had different song elements. And hearing Corey, over the years talk about how he wanted to make a solo album and bands that he would reference like that he really loved. He's a big Foo Fighters fan, he's a big Nine Inch Nails fan, he's a big all these bands, and you can kind of hear some elements in just that song. I noticed the drums had like the polka Queens of the Stone Age kind of like thing going on. So I wonder if that was a little bit of an influence there. But the sing-along aspect, I can kind of see what you're saying with the 80s thing. And I think, we talked about Corey Taylor and how he's a big 80s guy. And I always reference the song ZZYZX Road or whatever.
Yeah.
Stone Sour. That's like a total 80s ballad, right? Mm-hmm. So that 80s thing is definitely part of his fabric. So, yeah, I thought it was good. But one better than the other for sure, the Blue Eyes.
And it's interesting to see, like, what's the album going to sound like? Because those are that's almost like 2 different bands, and the features make them even more separate.
Yeah,
but you're right. Even like Corey's cadence, the first rapper's cadence, and Tech Nine's, they're all different. The song's all over the place. I didn't like it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like it. For me, I didn't like it. But that first song was, I mean, I've listened to it like probably 10 times.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would agree. I think that the first Black Eyes Blue is the better of the 2, but I could totally see myself throwing the other one on every now and then, just to, like, with the windows down, just trying to, like, going to work. Like, all right, yeah. I got a big day ahead of me. Let's when I finally go back to my real job.
And it's Corey Taylor, right? So at the end of the day, like, even if it stinks, it's still good. It's like pizza. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good.
Pizza and sex, right?
Unless it's Papa John's.
Bad, it's still pretty
Unless
good.
it's Papa John's. Or Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Or Pizza Hut.
Yeah, Pizza Hut's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Might as well just open the box and put it in the toilet. I mean,
Man,
Pizza Hut will not be a sponsor of the Patio Slave podcast.
We're anti-chain restaurants on this. Olive Garden to Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Well,
we're about the craft.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. So the Manson song. You guys listen to the Manson song?
Yep.
I did.
Who wants to go first on that one, Nate?
I'll go on that one. Yeah, I liked it. I was extremely surprised, to be honest, because I mean we're all big Manson fans here, and he's the shock rocker, and I don't know. I thought it was gonna be like a blaring, heavy song, and I'm just listening to it while I'm driving. I'm like, oh, this is it's like an anthem. Sounds like an anthem song. And it sounds like a stadium rocking song. And in it, while I'm listening and putting those notes in my head, I'm like, okay, there's some growth here, or just some overall maturity. But obviously it kind of fits the times. Like his lyrics are always kind of out there and crazy and avant-garde or whatnot. But yeah, this one I was just like, I didn't know what to expect. So when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is cool. I could feel like I could see a crowd like singing this in unison in like a big stadium kind of thing. And I never heard that from a Manson song, even though his songs are very much like a crowd pleaser. But yeah, man, I liked it for sure. What about you guys?
So similar vibe. When I read the name of the album and the song, We Are Chaos, I thought to myself, yeah, this sounds like it could just, it's a new Manson record. Yep. It's going to be, stays in his lane, does some similar stuff, maybe changes it up a little bit, nothing crazy. This was definitely a departure, I thought, for him the sound is definitely big ballady, big rocker, stadium rocker for sure. I wrote similar things down.
Yeah.
It also sounded like it could have been like the music say the music stays the same and you put the lead singer of Arcade Fire there. Couldn't that be an Arcade Fire song? Like it had that kind of big sound to it, and it could have been written by anybody. It was weird to hear that from coming out of Manson, I thought, but I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, you got the whole. The first thing I thought of when I heard, well, two things. One was stadium vibes. This would be great live. People singing along. Well, three things. That's the first one. Second thing is David Bowie had David Bowie.
Yeah. Yep.
Fingerprints on it, which you know, I think you could argue he's the modern day David Bowie in a lot of respects.
Absolutely.
But then the third thing I thought to myself is, what else is this guy to do? I mean, he did the whole cake and sodomy thing 25 years ago. Like, do you want that from a 50-year-old Manson? I don't.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know what I want from Manson, but what we got was, I guess what, yeah. I mean, it was overall it was great, I thought.
That's a good way to put it, Twan, is like, what do you want to see from him now? Because, I mean, he almost like dropped off the map for a while there because he was having such problems with substance abuse and stuff. So I was kind of getting worried for a few years back. He was like dropping off tours and all sorts of craziness. Yeah, I can see that vision that you have. And another note that I wrote down is, you know, it almost, and this kind of goes with like a Trent Reznor thing. It sounds like a song that would be fit well with like a movie soundtrack. It almost seems like a movie soundtrack song. And I could see it replacing like the Pixies song at the end of Fight Club kind of thing, where it's just like carrying that movie to its end point, you know. So that might be part of that growth, might be like, you know, where he's at today. But at the end of the day, what you said, Twan, is true. Like, what do I want from Manson now? I don't even know. So this is almost like an appropriate time to put out this kind of song. And maybe it's a little produced. Maybe that's what we're all getting to. But all the songs are produced. So it's just a different side of Manson. So yeah, if anything, it's a good, maybe he's going in a good direction.
Yeah, and like you said, Nate, he didn't sound great a few years back. I remember listening to him on Mark Maron's podcast and thinking, man, he just doesn't sound great. So hopefully that's turned around and he's in a better spot, and maybe that's what this is. This album's about that. Who knows? Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah.
And similar with Corey Taylor, it's like, is the rest of the record going to be like this? Well, I don't know. Could go either way. But I'll check it out. I mean, I haven't checked out his last couple, but in 2020, these legacy artists that are still doing it, like, I'll check it out.
I mean, if it is the whole album sounding like that for Manson, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be like a concept album almost, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, he can't keep doing the shock rock thing forever. I mean, he can, but yeah, it's a little bit past.
I do like the Bowie comparison. I hadn't thought of that, and I like that. That makes
cool.
complete sense to me.
He would like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Bowie
might even like that.
Ziggy Stardust Manson.
Yeah, I think Bowie would like that too. Rest in peace.
Man, what about seeing shows? Isn't there a venue that just closed?
Oh man, so yeah, our live music update is pretty fat, and some is good and some is not good. And Nate's alluding to a venue here in our hometown that has closed up shop for good. Port City Music Hall in Portland, Maine, is no longer going to be open. They did all they could. It sounded like in reading the article that Rolling Stone put out that they had applied for the PPP loans. They got that, and they laid off part-time workers early on and tried to keep as many people solvent as they could early on. But it's just been too long. We're almost 5 months, and they're the first places to close and the last places to open. So
what's sad about this, which I really thought about, which I think it's a sign of what's to come, is for those that don't know, Port City Music Hall, it's like a 600-person cap venue in Portland, Maine, and it's managed by, I think, a parent company that manages a few venues. So my thought is, if they can't survive when they have economies of scale with marketing, and I'm sure other things, it's like, God damn, like this is the tip of the iceberg, and it's not. This is the Titanic, and it's not looking good. Yeah. And it's really sad. That's right where my head went.
Wow. No, Twan, I mean, you put it in the best possible way in terms of just wording it correctly, because that's how it hit me. I mean, it's obviously like our hometown. That venue was not an original like OG Portland venue, right? It came after the State Theater. It came after the Asylum, stuff like that.
They opened in 2009, I believe.
Yeah, in a different recession. Yeah. But yeah, that's a great way to put it in context, because it has some credibility behind it, some infrastructure behind it to keep it afloat. And if that's not the case, I mean, I was just surprised by the whole thing to see it permanently closed, because it just shows you there's no hope. Like there's no like, okay, we're closing temporarily. We're going to do a round of funding. We're going to do whatever we can to keep this going. To see it just like bold, like closed permanently is like almost like saying live music is permanently done is the way it like transcends, which is really crappy. So like what you're saying, Tuan, it's like, yeah, it's, you know, shining, you know, polishing the brass on the Titanic as it's sinking, right? That's a Fight Club quote. It sucks. I didn't want to read that. I didn't want to see that. And I wonder, depending on the market, I mean, Portland, Maine's considered a secondary market. I wonder if we'll see that in places like Boston, New York City. And I think what you're saying is, yeah, this is the beginning of the end, possibly, unless it's like a huge amphitheater that may have even bigger backing, like Live Nation backing, to convert the venues to social distancing or have the capacity to spread people out. But yeah, tiny venues.
These
could
small,
be a
those small sweaty clubs, right? I mean, this one
Yeah.
wasn't big. It hold 550, 600 people,
Mhm.
and great sounding room. I mean, it was an awesome place to catch a concert. We saw some fairly good sized acts come through and play that tiny little venue. So we were fortunate when they opened that they got what they got, and they continued to kind of be an active music venue for a decade plus until
Mhm.
this all hit the wall. And reading that interview, the manager of those venues, Lauren Wayne, who's manages State Theater in Thompson's Point and Port City, had said, you know, it was so weird to go from being a profitable, killing it business to shut everything off in an instant, and we're doing nothing. And when you specialize, she said something like, when you specialize in large crowds, this is not the time for that, obviously. So we've been talking about it for 5 months. It sucks. And we're starting to see some of the bad parts that are going to come out of this come to fruition. This is like Twan said, the tip of the iceberg.
And I guess for context, for people on the East Coast, like in Boston, this is our Royale, and then on the West Coast, this is our Roxy. Like,
Yep.
I'm trying to think of who I've seen there in the last 5 years. Like Every Time I Die, Knocked Loose, Citizen, Menzingers. I saw Movie Life, Acacia Strain, ISIS, Cave In. Like, without that venue, I don't think those tours wouldn't have come. We don't have another venue, arguably, that's in that 500-600 cap. So it sucks, really bad.
Yeah, Tuan, you just brought up another good point, is the fact that venue is, you know, constructed as, you know, a need business. Like they've built it because there was nothing to fit that capacity at the time. So I almost think of it as like a craft brewery. Like someone had to put together this venue because there was a need for it and no one was doing it. So they were like, all right, we'll do it. Kind of like this podcast.
Agreed.
And fill that need and see it flourish. But I mean, they were going through financial problems at a few, you know, times in history and so forth. But it's like, it's live music, you know, it's up and down. It's not like there are huge margins there. So to see it fade away, it's like, man, someone actually like did some blood, you know, some serious blood, sweat, and tears to bring that to fruition, and to have it just be permanently closed is like, man, like someone took a huge risk, and to have it just fall apart and we all feel it. I feel like it's almost like it's part of us. So
yeah. And it's a place that we didn't grow up in like we did the State Theater, but we weren't super old when they opened, and we're seeing a bunch of shows there too. Like it was another, oh cool, we have another place, and this one's a little smaller, so we might attract some of those bands on their way up, as opposed to trying to get them in a place that holds maybe 7,000, like the Civic Center or whatever. So that was, or you know, those smaller venues, maybe they'd come off of a date in Boston on their off day and come play up here. So that was to see a place like that obviously shutter and not come back. Huge bummer.
Yeah, like Maggie Rogers was there in the last couple of years.
Yep.
Like it was a place where I'm sure very few markets had could have seen a Maggie Rogers in that cap venue, you know. And that's, in some respects, we're spoiled in the Northeast, especially in Portland, where we get these kind of up and comers and we see them in a small cap. But yeah, it sucks. So we're all about positivity here in the Patio Slave podcast. We mourn the losses, but we also celebrate the wins. And one of those wins was Mr. Tony. You had a prediction back in May.
I did.
And what was that
Which
prediction?
I got it half right, right?
No, okay, you got to round up, man. What was that prediction?
So back in late May, I believe actually the dates were exactly 2 months apart. May 29th was the episode 12. We were talking about Clutch doing their first live stream in the Doom Saloon, and we talked about how they had like a limited edition T-shirt and this and that. And I think that one was free. This one now, we had speculated maybe they'll go kind of all out when they do it again, and maybe they'll press the 55 minute set into a vinyl, and you get a T-shirt, and you pay $9 to go to it, and that's what's happening. So they are going to, as you heard here first on the Patio Slate podcast 2 months ago, press. There's a digital bundle, and you're going to get the vinyl and a T-shirt, and be able to watch the live stream, which is I believe next Friday night, August 7th. So yeah, we called it. That's what we do here, guys. I mean, we call stuff. We're out in front of the curve. It's not just me. It's our conversation. It's our talking about music that gets us there. So we did it.
I mean, you nailed it down to the color, like not the exact colorway, but
Almost,
like the colored vinyl.
Yeah.
It also helps that the imagery in the logos and like the drawings and stuff that they're using for the cover is badass. Like it makes me want to get it, but I think it was a little pricey, but
it is. It's $100 for the T-shirt, the ticket to watch the live stream, and the vinyl, which is, I'm getting married next weekend, so it's not going to happen. If I wasn't getting married next weekend, I just had my birthday just happened. Maybe I'd shell out the $100 because I want it. But yeah, we're the time we're in right now. I got to scrimp and save a little bit. So
I got to say though, on that prediction, you said you would buy it.
I did, yeah. I said, well, I also said it was going to be Record Store Day 2021, and if that was the case, I absolutely would buy it. So I'm going to give myself an out there. And honestly, I could see myself next summer looking on Discogs and finding it and paying for it. It may end up in my collection at some point.
Hey, add it to the wedding registry.
It's a good idea. Yeah, Friday night we're gonna be showing Clutch's Doom Saloon at the wedding Friday night. Yeah, great.
Hold the blender. I don't need the blender. What I really need.
It's true. Nate, that's a good idea. Don't get me started. My fiance may not like that.
That's my only prediction.
But this is, we think they're the first band to do it.
Yeah.
They won't be the last.
I think so, yeah.
They won't be the last. Like
oh God, no. And you called that.
Yeah. I mean, it's I hate to say money grab, but in a good way. It's like, we need to survive. We're hungry. We're desperate. Let's press a live stream or a Twitch stream or whatever it is, and get creative with it.
Yeah. I mean, it could honestly, if done correctly, be a way to save a place like Port City Music Hall, where it goes in tandem. It's like, hey, here's
true. Yeah.
You're buying a ticket to the show essentially for this pressing, and we're going to do this on a recurring basis, let's say like 4 shows a week or something. And there's enough money coming in from that limited release, whatever. Because when you think about it, that's why we love live music, is because it's a limited engagement. Every show is different. Even if they're playing the same set list every night, there's something that happens. There's a different energy, it's a different market, there's a different crowd. So it's a limited thing. So that pressing is like the energy in that live performance that was recorded is unique to that. I don't know, kind of segue there or tangent there, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah. And I know, Twan, getting back to your point about other bands doing something like this or finding a way to be creative to make some money in this time. Our other friend, Nate, that we've mentioned numerous times in this pod, has been just peppering me with awesome information and sent me an article about this band called Goose. You guys familiar with them at all?
No.
They're a jam band. I'm not super familiar with them, but the idea that they had was they're calling it Bingo Tour, and it's a live stream, and they're just like pulling stuff out of a hat. Like, say, do a 20-minute jam or no drums on this song or stuff. And the bingo. And they're $60 for looks like the tour pass is $60. So it's a creative way to change it up and get your fans engaged at home, online, whatever, right? So that's cool.
That's rad.
Could we get that for Metallica? And one of the options is they'll play Saint Anger without the snare drum.
Lars came out and defended that this week.
He totally did. Tangent alert.
Oh, we do that here. That would be cool. Yeah, that would, if we could do stuff like, hey, this is the one part of this song I really hate. Can you just not play that?
Yeah.
If there's anything we've learned about Lars as fans and anyone that's listening, nerds out there, that Lars is the friend that will just say what he wants to say, even if he knows he's wrong, he'll just say it anyway.
Yeah,
And
he
it's
likes
like,
to fight
dude,
guy, right?
Yeah, it's like you
I'm
know
not
you're wrong.
You're right, Nate. That's great. But yeah, that would be that's another cool live idea as far as trying to be viable in these times. So shout out to Nate. Thanks for the info, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's total nerdery. Like the fact that he sent that, one, and then two, the fact that you said, was it Goose?
Goose was the band, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they're even doing that, I love that.
That's great. It's cool. And I would do that. There's a bunch of bands I could be like, yeah, do this, or like maybe you freestyle here and this part of over that beat with a hip hop act, or it'd be cool to hear like, any song without, hamstring them, make them play lefty, do stuff. It'd just be kind of fun to like choose your own adventure with the concert, right?
Or like have the bassist and guitarist switch instruments and see if they could pull it off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
We're giving people ideas. We should save these.
Prediction.
These are becoming predictions, yeah, or will become predictions. I mean,
2
to
months
be
from
honest,
now, and this is go ahead, Nate.
I was gonna say, to be honest, I would pay a band that I really love to play a set, with a fan designed set list. Like, hey, these songs you like have never played, badass songs that are deep cuts. Like, why don't you play these songs? And all these fans will pony up the money to see, a curated show that they want to see, because every time they see them, they just don't get to hear these songs for whatever reason. I think, Tone, remember we saw Green Day at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
And I had this weird optimistic vision we were going to hear songs from like Insomniac, like deep cuts, and they didn't play anything off Insomniac.
Didn't we see them like 4 months prior in Portland too? And it was like the exact same set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if Green Day was like, hey, we'll do a tally, like we'll play, whatever songs you want to hear, I think I would pay for that. So it kind of goes into that thing.
The right band, absolutely.
Like, you guys are great, but you play the same songs. I've seen this song every single time. Like, why don't you play the hidden track?
Yeah,
that'd be cool. I'd pay for that.
Me too.
That's nerd dollars just out the window. Like, whatever, pay for it.
Yeah, no, now we're gonna spitball. This is actually probably a segment. Honestly, we should definitely do that. Like, come up with if you could pay a band any money, what would you have them play, and how could you maybe come up with a set or 10-song set or something? So, spitballing live on the air.
Think tank.
What is the secret song on Incubus Science Worth live? I would pay a lot for that.
It's true. It's true. There's a bunch of secret songs I'd love to hear.
Oh man.
So we did negative, we did positive. Now we get another negative.
What?
Chainsmokers, man. You saw that, the Chainsmokers doing that concert it was supposed to be a drive-through, drive-up, whatever, like Third Eye Blind did last weekend, same night in the Hamptons in New York, but all those rich fuckers got out of their car and walked up to the stage.
And
so Post Malone was on Rogan this week, and they actually talked about this.
Yep.
In Post Malone, and I just read an article. I didn't get through the whole interview, but I think Post Malone was just like, if the intent was for it to be a drive up and people got out of their cars, you can't put that on the group. You can't put that on the Chainsmokers.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's a security issue.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That's if you when you pull in, it's probably written on their agreement when they bought the tickets, like, don't get up and walk to the stage and congregate. Right. That's not something that you are supposed to be doing in this time, especially not in New York. It just came out, like, they're kind of on the up and up as far as the coronavirus stuff is going, but we're still not out of the woods here. I mean, it's not even close. Like, just stay in your car, stay with the people around your car. Don't walk into a crowd. Just that it's not really on the Chainsmokers. I do agree with that.
Yeah, no, it's a good quote, because that's the way I was thinking about it. It's like well, it goes back to Marilyn Manson when they were blaming Marilyn Manson for like the Columbine shooting. It's like, wait, what? You can't just always scapegoat everyone. So yeah, it's the Chainsmokers concert, unless they're like recorded on the mic saying, "Get out of your cars, get to the stage, rush the stage," whatever. That would be different. But if they're at the concert just as an attendee, and the clickbait is this band, is irresponsible, and the people went to the show and they're encouraging it, and it's just like it always gets mixed up like that. It's bullshit. Woodstock. I would talk about Woodstock '99 a few episodes ago, and it's just like it got so much bad press. It was actually a pretty fun festival, but it got put on the bands. Well, actually, no, it's the promoters that were fucked up, not the bands. And there was something, and I got to backtrack a little bit because there was some bands saying like, hey, this is, you know,
I was just gonna say,
do whatever you want or whatever, you know, vocally, that's freedom of speech more. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, it goes around the people putting on the show. So if there's people getting out of their cars, then unfortunately they have to enforce that, not the band. The band's not gonna be like, get back in your car, or we're not gonna play anymore.
Yeah, mid song.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I was gonna challenge that thought, because the photos that I saw, it was from the stage looking out. It looked like a normal show, and like
It did, yeah.
I'm trying to put myself in the band's shoes or group shoes in this case. Like, do you stop it? Do you say like, what the hell? Like, did Cuomo just bless this and now now everyone can run free? Like, what just happened?
Right.
They just obviously kept playing.
Yeah.
I think in that situation, you know, you finish your song and you say, hey guys, it's with today with social media, with cameras everywhere. You say, hey guys, get back in your cars. Like, we want you guys to come up to the stage. We want people to be hugging each other. We want to have that time, and we will if you go back to your cars right now and we stop doing stupid things in this moment. Like, let's stop. Like that's maybe the responsible thing. So there's a little bit, because there are pictures from the stage, and somebody in there, it must have been somebody in their crew took those pictures and they saw the light of day, right? Like, that's, say something. I don't know if they did or didn't. We didn't hear, but I probably would be, let's finish the song and hey, tell everybody to get back in their car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show this is a trial and error phase with bringing live music back. They don't know what works. They don't know what people are going to buy to. At the end of the day, it's just kind of like between this and the mini fest, aka herd immunity fest, you know, just like, we're going to do this. We're going to hope everyone complies. Seems like herd immunity fest actually worked out for the most part. Chainsmokers concert, not necessarily, but that will just go to show that there's going to be a protocol set in place going forward, most likely, where the promoter is going to say, hey, if this happens, unfortunately, someone's going to like flash a, you know, flashlight or something on the side of the stage, which usually like is a way for a sound guy to tell, like, put the sound up or down or whatever. But have it be like a cue to be like, hey, unfortunately, you have to cut the set right now and address the crowd, which I've seen at festivals. Like, hey, please back up 3 feet. The barricade is, you know, essentially about to fall over, so everyone needs to kind of work together to get the show back on the road. I've been to so many shows where this has happened, and I'm always just like, all right, you know, at the end of the day, this is for everyone's safety. So with COVID, this could be the case where it becomes a protocol. Like, hey, this is the SOP. Why don't you flash the band right now on the side stage and tell them that they have to cut the set right now unless we can get this back in order. So I feel like this is a trial and error phase, and this showcases that. But it's not the band's fault. Unless they're encouraging it, it's just not the band's fault. I think it was what we're getting to for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're saying, hey. Yeah.
I think what you get with this is there's just too many people. When there's enough people, there's going to be a decent percentage of idiots. And I think that's the takeaway. It's like, there's going to be bad apples. There's going to be idiots that don't listen. People have different viewpoints, and you can't corral. At a certain point, you can't corral people. And the impact is going to be greater, obviously, with the more people there are. So I think that's, you'll still see these shows, but you'll see less people admitted, less cars and whatnot.
Yep. And you're right. This is one of those situations where one bad apple does spoil the bunch, though. So that's why they need to be a little more diligent, whether it's the venue that's saying, yeah, we'll do this, or the band being encouraged to help with that. Like, maybe that's one of the first things they say when they come out. Like, hey, we want to have a good time tonight. We're going to play music for you guys. It's not going to be like it usually is, but it's better than nothing. And we want this to stay viable. And this is going to help everybody. You know, we need live music to heal. I mean, I know the three of us, it's part of our fabric. It's what we've done for years, and not having it is painful. And going through a summer in a great, gorgeous outdoor venue type state like Maine without music, and I know California, it's always like that, Nate. We want those things to come back. So maybe people take a little more of the onus on themselves to say at the beginning of shows, no, stay in your car. We will go back off stage. We will leave if this gets worse.
Yeah. I think it ultimately comes down to the fact that no one really knows what to do, and, you know, including the civilians that are going to the show. They're like, I just want to see a show. Usually when I go to a show, I mosh, I dance, I get drinks, I hug people. It's a very communal thing. Well, now with what's going on, that's just not the case. So you're taking people out of their normal element, but putting them into a similar situation that they're used to. So that muscle memory is kind of like confused. Like, wait, oh, okay, no, I have to stay in the car, but I'm at a show. Wait, what's going on here? So even though going in, instinct, I'm thinking for the people at the Chainsmokers concert was like, oh well, are they really going to enforce it? Like you said, there's some bad eggs. Are they really going to enforce it? They really didn't say it straight out. There was no like protocol in line saying, hey, you have to abide to these rules or we'll eject you. Like when you go to a metal show and there's like no crowd surfing and it's like, all right, yeah, really? Because there's going to be crowd surfing. Well, some people do get ejected depending on where you are. And some people, most concerts, it's pretty much like, all right, well, if you're in a crowd surf, it's at your own risk. So, but the insurance company doesn't look at it that way. They look at it as, yeah, if people are crowd surfing, take those people down because that's a flight risk or that's it's a liability for us. So this is just going to be a long, drawn out process to see how this really plays out. But these are the beginnings of it for sure.
Well, it is here, right? That's the problem. It's helping. It's happening other places, and it's fine.
One last thought on that is, I mean, think of the genre they're in. They're in that EDM, which is built for the live show. It's like it was kind of doomed from the get-go, and like their target demographic. Well, I don't know about target demographic, but their actual demographic is that 18 to 27, probably young, active. They want to interact with the music. You can't really do that in your car.
No.
So I think it was doomed from the jump. But Tone, you said they're doing it good in other places. What were you referring to?
Frank Turner. He played an indoor concert in it was somewhere in England, I believe, where he's from. Yeah. So, and it sounds like it went off okay, and people were distanced very well, and they were, it's kind of like going out to eat here in places that are allowing that, where you're masked till you sit down, and then at your seats you can have a beverage or someone's probably waiting on you, but you're not milling about. People aren't getting up to the stage. It's very subdued and laid back, and Frank Turner can play shows like that, which is cool. That'd be difficult for a metal concert, obviously. It wouldn't be as hard for him with what he does musically now. So, but I mean, it's a step in the right direction for other places in the world that they're able to do stuff like that. And if we could just kind of get our stuff together here, we'd start seeing more of that here too.
Yeah, I think it shows it can be done. And I think you sent a photo of it, right? Where it was almost like it almost looked like a dinner.
Yeah,
like you'd eating at a restaurant where it was distance. You had a table.
Yep.
But when you have a table, you tend to congregate around that table, so it kind of puts you around that. And I've actually, what that reminds me of is when I saw Joe Budden podcast live in Boston. You had your own table, and it was awesome. Like, I know seeing a podcast is a little different than music. Like, you're not going to nod your head and want to move around at a live podcast, but it shows it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the blueprint. Now people just got to follow through with it.
Yeah. I think ultimately what we're kind of getting to is the fact that, and we've talked about this so many times, that it's just not going to go back to the way it was. Everything's going to be evolving to the new normal, whether it be small cap, different seating arrangements, different ways of watching shows. I mean, if it doesn't go this route, this is the better of the latter, which would be the hazmat suit, because the hazmat suit just changes the whole dynamic of a live concert altogether. You're in like a spacesuit essentially. So it's either, you comply to the rules if you want to have a somewhat normal experience, or you want to go to what you're used to and wear a hazmat suit, which just like seems so out of this world. But at the same time, a lot of things are pretty futuristic now, so it's not that far-fetched, but things are going to evolve no matter what, and they're not going back to the way they were. So every time we talk nostalgic wise here about going to concerts and club shows and seeing things at the Axis in Boston in a packed club where literally like you're packed in like sardines, like I loved that shit, even though like I'm a somewhat germaphobe. It's weird. It's like a kind of like two personalities there, but those days, I mean, Port City just shows it right there in the article. Like those days are coming to a close pretty quickly here. So yeah, I think the future is here and it's going to change.
Yep, I would agree.
I was just thinking though, I think I'm there. Like if someone told me wear this hazmat suit and you can experience Knotfest 2020 at Mansfield, I'd go.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the alternative? You stay home and wish you were there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm almost there. Because like,
I'm probably not quite there yet, but I'm not far.
because summer in New England in a hazmat suit, I know it's at night, but
I mean,
like,
it's been hot
close,
as balls
guys.
here. So.
I'm close.
Twan, it's funny. It's funny you say that because I think it was like 2 episodes ago I said that I was slowly becoming a little bit more desensitized about the fact about wearing a hazmat suit, and that was out of desperation of just seeing a show in general. But now, like, yeah, the risk A, and then B, like capacity. You know, I still like being in a big crowd. You know, that's like part of the show. That's the energy. I mean, every documentary I've seen about music and bands and playing shows, it's like it's a two-way street. It's a dance. Like the crowd's bringing an energy, the band's bringing an energy, and you get an amazing show from that. If you're in like a show where it's just like circles of people, which is, you know, equates to like a quarter of their normal capacity, the energy is going to be, you know, 25% of what it used to be. And so it's just going to be like, okay, do I wear a hazmat suit where we get the full crowd, get the full experience, or do I get 25% of it in like a spread out fashion? Well, at that point, I'm almost like you said, Twan, I'd almost rather just watch that on YouTube at this point. You know, it's like, well, I'm not missing much.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm almost at the point of the hazmat.
Well, but I mean, he's saying
Yeah.
if it's like 25% capacity, you aren't gonna. You're not gonna go to
That's
that
a good
versus
point.
you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I agree with that. And I'm definitely not to the point where I want to don a hazmat suit when it's 87 degrees and muggy out. But I mean, maybe that would be good for, you know, when it's a little colder in the fall. Sports came back this week, right? And we had baseball and basketballs back now.
Mhm.
And watching those and not seeing fans and not hearing real fan noise, it's similar to not seeing or hearing real fan noise from a crowd at a concert. Like the buzz right before a band goes on, the lights go down. Like if there's a 25% capacity, it's just not the same. That feeling is really cool. We all love that feeling, right? You know what I'm talking about. That feeling is so fucking cool.
The house music
can't
and
do
house
it.
lights go off.
Yeah. So it's difficult, and that part is going to be the piece that it makes shows for us, especially in those small, you know, 550 people, whatever capacity venues where you're making new friends because you're on top of each other and you're all there for the same reason.
Wow, that roundup made me miss live music more than when we started the episode.
I know. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
God damn.
One last set list piece that we had, and it actually coincides with new music too because they put a song out today as well. But Run the Jewels with their own marijuana strain.
Oh, nice.
Are they the first? Are they the first to do it?
That probably not. There's so
Yeah,
many
probably
stoner
not, right?
music out there. I'd have to research. I'm not sure, but they have their own, and they're obviously into it. What's the name of it? I've got it right here. It's called Ooh La La, which is after the song that is off their record that they just put out in June, I believe, right? So
Awesome song.
Yeah, great song. My favorite song on the record, and there's some good ones on there. So, but yeah, it's I think it's a place in Michigan that came up with it. What's the name of the company? I can't seem to find it, but it's it sounds like I don't know if they're selling it online in some places. Detroit, yeah.
Detroit. Okay.
Yep. Full line is also available in Detroit, Michigan, at the Cookies store operated by Gage Cannabis Company. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I have not. Our Michigan friends may have heard of it.
No, I was going to jump in on the Cookies thing because Cookies is a California brand out here from a different artist named Burner, is a rapper. And so essentially that's a private label, but in the Michigan geography, which is interesting because the cannabis industry, the way it's set up currently, is it's still federally illegal, but different states have their own laws by jurisdiction. So California, for instance, the company I work for, we can't transport our product across state lines, even though we're an MSO, which means we're a multi-state operator. So we have operations in California, we manufacture, sell, and also in Nevada. So Michigan is also a recreational state. So I'm surprised they launched there first before California, but at the same time, Cookies is a brand that's kind of branching off in an independent state franchise type thing.
Probably cheaper for them to do it in Michigan.
Oh, dude, Michigan's coming up.
Well, especially just tax-wise, right? California's like Maine, very tax-heavy.
For
you
sure.
go to Michigan, maybe not as bad. So maybe they're like, oh, well, let's do this here and save some cash. That's why Joe Rogan's moving to Texas, right?
Oh, that's right.
Exactly.
I would be shocked if they're the first ones, but at the same time, I can't think of anyone else because you've seen, not that. I guess the closest thing to pot is certainly booze, and
Mhm.
booze is heavily integrated in the music industry, whether it's with the beer or P. Diddy with Ciroc, or I mean, you name it. It goes on and on. I mean, it's synonymous.
50 Cent has some gin or something, doesn't he?
Nas and
Yeah.
Hennessy. I mean,
Yeah. Yep.
So
And then all the beers. There's so many beers.
so many beers. Post Malone loves Bud Light. I
Yeah.
learned that obviously in his songs, but on Rogan. But yeah, I mean, this if they are the first, wow, good for
They're
them.
definitely
Cool.
not the first. They're definitely not the first. I mean, there's a lot of private label stuff that goes on here in California where,
Yeah.
you know, artists or even athletes for that matter, will put their name on a brand as a white label, private label. So they're, you know, they don't fully own the process. So I think this might be because it's a collab with Cookies. This is getting in the weeds a little bit on the cannabis industry, but
You're not getting in the weeds in the cannabis industry, are you?
No pun intended.
Ooh, pun intended.
Making dad jokes, and I'm not even a dad.
But Run the Jewels, you know, gives it a new spin because they're kind of you know, they're not even up and coming. They're bigger, they're larger than life right now. So it's not your average Snoop Dogg type thing, which is
The
still
rapper
viable.
Currency has one.
Yep.
I think there's one. I think there's a Grateful Dead one. I'm sure that's at least named after them, if not in collaboration with them. I'm sure. I mean, that's the OG as far as that stuff goes. So
Yeah, there's so much stuff. Cheech and Chong have stuff going on.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is, and we talked about this when we reviewed their latest album, is their branding is so money.
Mm-hmm.
The name is
It's awesome.
perfect. The logo is perfect. You throw that on some packaging and whatnot, and it'll take off.
Snoop's Dream. I mean, there's a bunch, but this is cool, and we like Run the Jewels. And they put a song out today with Travis Barker, which is very cool. I think it's called Forever Infinity or something, which is like a play on that Newfound Glory album that came out.
Oh, was there another feature on it, or was
but-
it just Run the Jewels and Barker?
It was just Run the Jewels and Barker, and honestly, I listened to it. I don't know if you guys did, but the I didn't hear a ton of Barker. The song is awesome, and I'm sure he provided the baseline beat stuff as far as drums go, but it wasn't like and check out this cool Travis Barker drum riff. You know what I mean? I would check it out though. It's cool. It's going to be on the playlist. I've already actually started the playlist. It's on there.
I'll check it out.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to peep that yet, but I'll check that out. Because Barker's done stuff recently with Post Malone on that Nirvana thing, and then Machine Gun Kelly. He's done so he's been pretty active. That guy.
Yeah,
You
Barker.
ready? Go ahead.
Travis,
Nate.
I was gonna say Travis Barker. He just proves that he's bigger than Blink-182. He's like, you know, he carries that band right now. So
Yeah, I mean, I didn't listen to, is it 9 that came out this year or last year?
Yeah.
I think it was their most recent album. I did listen to California. It's okay.
Mhm.
There are a couple good songs on it, but like since Tom left and really since Neighborhoods, I haven't really been super up on what they do as far as the new stuff. I've listened here and there, but nothing has like grabbed me.
Yeah. Well, you made a prediction, so that could change.
Well, that would grab me really quickly, really quickly, because I think those three together are just awesome.
And
Check our
well,
predictions.
the name Blink-182 is always, I don't know. I don't know if it worked in their favor. It might be a bandicap, but the opposite of bandicap is, what is it called?
Bandvantage.
Bandvantage.
Ooh, good
Is that the
transition.
You
segment?
can see that on a t-shirt. So what is Bandvantage? Yeah.
Bandvantage, band names that fit perfect or add credibility to the band. So in other words, you listen to a band, you're like, man, this band's awesome. What's the name of this band? This would never happen, by the way, because you always know the band before. But you're like, man, this band's awesome. And this name just makes this band even that much more badass.
That does sometimes happen, though. You hear a song and don't know who it is.
Yeah, true. That's
So
true, too.
it's the opposite of what's this
Bandicap.
band's name? Butthole Surfers. Oh shit. So Bandvantage, we are going to come at you with probably 2 or 3 apiece. Nate, you're going first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, deal with it, bro. Let's go.
Sweet.
Lay it
I
on
know, I
us.
usually wait to the end, right?
Not tonight.
Not
Not
usually.
tonight.
I usually drag it out. My wife's like, you always like, even when it lands on you, you still drag it out. And I'm like, yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, you do. I love
So we all picked 3. We might get to 2. And this first one, I don't know why it fits so well, but I think it's because even though the lyrics can be sad, and the band, it's, I mean, the overall band, dynamics and history is kind of like a sad, sappy band.
I know who
But
it
the
is.
Cure.
I was going to guess The Cure. I swear.
No way.
I
Oh,
swear.
shit.
Yep.
I wish I had waited. Fuck.
Yep.
I almost did The Cure, so this is great.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
It's a great name.
Yeah. I feel like it fits perfectly. It's like, it's weird. It's like the lyrics are sad kind of sometimes, but the music's like happy. So like it has like that perfect connotation, like, oh, it's The Cure. It's like, it kind of has a connotation to help something that's not right. So it's not necessarily happy, but it's not.
We could all use
necessarily
more of The
sad.
Cure in our life.
Yeah.
Right now, especially.
Yeah.
More,
a cure
more
for
dad jokes from
coronavirus.
Tone.
But oh my god, that's awesome! Yeah, you're gonna. I actually should have done the normal like guesses, but I jumped right into it. You kind of threw me off with going first. Yeah, I mean, basically, they stuck with that name because the singer Robert Smith said it used to be called Easy Cure, and they just shortened it to The Cure. So I always think of it as like the Facebook, and then shortening it to Facebook. Simplify.
You beat me to it.
Oh, really? And I lately I've been kind of getting into the simplification of things. So The Cure, just like, yeah, that's what it is. It's amazing. It's great music. It's timeless. What do you guys think?
I think this is a band that fits actually a couple segments we've done. This would fit Heavy Therapy.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy in theme, not in
Sound.
volume and sound. Yeah. But no, when you said that, when you described them, I was going to guess The Cure, just in the way
That's
you described
crazy.
it. I'm not as probably versed with them as you guys, but what I've heard, I can see how they would fit this segment perfectly.
Well, it goes back to one of the past episodes where it's like, it's the band's band. So I got into it that way. It's like I heard so many bands talking about, oh, what are your biggest influences? And The Cure was always in there. So eventually I was like, I got to check out this fucking band. And I knew a few songs. And then I really dug deep. I'm like, this band's amazing. And then I saw them live and they played like 3.5 hours. I'm like, oh, I'm all in. This is amazing. This is so cool.
You've seen him, Nate?
Yeah, twice. Not enough.
Did you go when Rob interviewed Robert Smith?
Nope. I wanted to go to that show, but
Right. I was
didn't
gonna say,
make
did you get to meet Robert Smith too, you dick?
No, it would have been sweet.
So
But,
yeah, going back to our episode 17 guest, Rob, the radio DJ that we're very close with, he got to interview. That was an awesome interview. Him and Curto, who also was a DJ at WCYY here in Portland, Maine. Back in the day, they got to interview him, and it was a really cool conversation. I remember that being like a highlight. Rob's an 80s kid. He loves all music 80s, and it's kind of the way he and I bonded. I remember my early memory of listening to The Cure or Donnie's Basement, which I know we've talked about a few times, Nate. Always listening to Blood Flowers, which is an awesome, underrated Cure album from the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
They come up as an 80s band, and there's a lot of their big hits that you like. Disintegration comes from the late 80s, I believe.
Yep.
But go back and check that one out. That album is maybe
that's
some
their
days
best album.
amazing.
I know that one.
Oh yeah, it's a great album.
And the cover's classic. You would know most people know the album cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's for me. That's my favorite Cure album. It's one I come back to. Maybe someday is probably my favorite Cure song. As many other great Cure songs as there are, that one's probably my favorite. Good
pull, because I took. I mean, it'll be evident by the bands I chose, but I took a little different angle with it, and more with sound. But I think you'll see.
And you're right. It does kind of fit the Heavy Therapy situation too. Like it could totally have been a Heavy Therapy song or album.
Mm-hmm.
Good pull. Who's next?
Nice.
I'll go. Who do I want to go with first? Okay, so the first one I'm going to do, they've been around a long time. One of their members has passed, not super recently, within the last 10 years maybe. They're from New York.
Ooh, I was going to guess someone else.
Oh, okay. They're hip hop, but they're not traditional hip hop.
Beastie Boys?
Yep.
Oh,
Beastie
nice.
Boys.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Nice. Yeah. So, especially with that name early on, they could have gone any way they wanted to, and they did have some rock elements to them early on. They had Rick Rubin in the band at one point, as well as a friend of theirs, and they played instruments and did that kind of stuff before they went to being sample heavy, rapping over funky different stuff that they found, and turning mainly hip hop. But there's totally some rock elements to this band, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think they were in that CBGB's Bad Brains camp for a hot minute.
And we've talked about them in passing here and there. The Apple Plus, Apple TV, whatever you want to call it, a documentary thing, live show they did was really cool. I checked that out a couple months, maybe a month ago, and obviously MCA not being around sucks, but it sounds like he was a big piece of what they did creatively, and like he was kind of the oddball as far as he's always like looking at things and how to make music and do that kind of stuff. So it's a bummer that he's no longer with us, but they had some bangers, man, like just some great songs, and they really did kind of have straddle the line from rock to hip hop, as well as being just great samplers as far as turning old funky songs and beats into cool newer hip hop songs, which they're not new now, but they were back then. And alliteration, right? Beastie Boys. It sounds cool.
It does. It flows, and I was trying to think of alternative names for them, and I can't really think of one that obviously not right on the spot that would be better, especially for a white hip hop group. You know? Yeah,
it's a perfect name.
It is perfect.
It was an acronym at one point, but it sounds like it came up after. Now I'm trying to find it. Boys entering anarchistic states towards inner excellence.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm sure they put that on after.
Yeah. The wiki says that they did.
That's
among
awesome,
other things,
though.
but it's cool, and I think Yauk came up with it, which doesn't surprise me. Reading what I've read and seeing what I've seen, but yeah, they turned it into an acronym, but Beastie Boys just sounds cool, and they're not even maybe they dropped the too, right? Like not the Beastie Boys, they're just Beastie Boys.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
So yeah, I like the Beasties, and there'll be some cool Beasties tracks on there that maybe you haven't heard before on the playlist this week.
Heck yeah. You know what's cool about the Beastie Boys is, my family grew up going back and forth to New York City my whole life. And New York City, like our Beastie Boys made New York City cool for me. Because I was going as a kid and it was a financial district, and it was like, obviously it's a happening city. But Beastie Boys like kind of put it in a new lens for me through their music videos and their songs and everything. I was like, oh, New York City is actually pretty cool. But before that, I didn't really like it that much because I was never a huge city guy. So it kind of made the city
Well, they had that
much better.
To the Five Boroughs album,
Yep.
which I think was it Alive on that or?
No, Alive, and actually, full disclosure, already on the playlist, my favorite Beastie Boys song. That was on the anthology they put out when we were freshmen in high school.
Shit, what was the song on To the Five Boroughs?
Check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out was the big one, yep.
Yeah.
And that was a kind of comeback album, right?
It was, yeah. That's a good album.
That is a good album.
Wow. Perfect name.
Yeah. I thought so. I mean, it does fit them.
Have you guys seen Beastie Boys? Or did you?
No, sadly, no.
Never did.
I did see them on that tour for the Five Boroughs. They were great. And me and Rob Riccatelli.
Did you go down to Mass?
We went backstage. Where was that? Yeah, I think it was the Garden.
Yep.
We brought stuff to get signed. It was one of those strict meet and greets where you get a photo, but even that was cool,
Yeah, that is definitely cool. I think I've seen that photo actually.
Yeah, it's in the nerd photograph.
Is it in that book? Yeah.
Yep, it is in there.
More inside jokes for Nate and I. Maybe at some point when we actually reveal our identities, you guys will see these pictures.
And the member that passed away is MCA, right?
Yep.
He always reminded me of on MTV, Kevin Connolly. Had that same
Yeah.
look.
Yep.
Looked like him a little bit. Yeah.
Didn't
That's
remind
nice.
you of Kurt Loder?
A little of that too,
Yeah.
Tabitha Soren. He didn't look like Tabitha Soren.
Gideon Yago.
Gideon Diego. What up, y'all? I'm Sway.
Sway's the man. I was always
Sway is the
jealous
man.
of. I was always jealous of Gideon Diego's job growing up.
I know, right?
It's like, oh,
We
I
could have
guess
been
I
Gideon Diego. What the hell?
Who was the guy, Ian? The metal guy, Ian something?
Oh,
yeah.
shit. What the hell was his name?
Then there's Matt Pinfield.
Matt Pinfield, yeah.
But there was Ian, the young guy.
Oh shit! That's gonna piss me off. I'll look it up while you are revealing your next one, Twan.
Did he do Headbanger? Did he do Headbanger's Ball? Is that the same guy? No.
I'm not sure.
Oh man.
See, we're OGs. We remember
Robinson?
back in the 90s. Ian Robinson, maybe.
Maybe. There's just Ian. News. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just Ian.
We'll get him on the show. We'll get him on
Yeah,
the show.
yeah. We'll find him, and he'll be episode 25.
Actually, that's a good segue with Matt Pinfield and
Ooh,
Ian.
Okay.
Nice.
In the heavier side of things. So this band, I'm trying to think of how to describe them without spoiling it. Thrash metal band. Perfect band name.
Metallica.
One word, close.
Oh, okay. Because Metallica's a great name.
Yeah, it is.
You got to give us more, man.
They're one of the big four with Metallica.
Anthrax?
The other one.
Megadeth.
The other one. Slayer.
Who's the Slayer? Yeah,
Oh,
Slayer's
Slayer.
a great name. Yeah, what the fuck? You're right. Slayer's a great name.
So I thought about this, and I was like, I tried to. I feel like with heavy music, it's like that's the genre where the names are so in your face, as we heard last week with Goat Whore and whatever.
The other one.
And the other one. But so here's the thing. I do like Slayer. I do. Rain and Blood, Salt of Heaven, classic albums. They put out duds in Diabolus and Musica, that late 90s album, which was a departure for them. And I think they're great, but the name puts them to that next level. So the question is that I asked myself today is like, would they be part of that big four without that name? Probably, yeah. But think of this in 2020. Like they broke up last year. Think of this in 2020. They're so relevant because you can walk into a Newbury Comics and get their T-shirt because the name and the logo kicks ass. And think of all like the Slayer tattoos you see on like Instagram. I'm sure I don't know if you guys are searching for those, but like
Not typically, but I mean every now and then you never know.
yeah, but like
you go on a deep dive, a tangent.
there's so many out there. It's because the name, it's like what, 2 syllables, 1 word. Slayer. Like it's the best. Awesome. I think it's the best. Actually, Tone, what you said was Metallica. Metallica and Slayer, I think, pound for pound, those like the best metal names.
Yeah, easy to digest and just perfect connotation to the genre itself.
Yeah,
Slayer. I mean, bands like System of a Down like name themselves a band that start with an S to be placed next to Slayer is what I've read. It's like a deep nerd thing right there. But
wow.
So yeah, it shows. It holds some weight.
I've never heard that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And to kind of give your credibility to the tattoo thing, I mean, Kerry King's got tattoos on his head, right? He's got like those like zigzag bolts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tribal tats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're obviously known as one of the big four of metal and thrash metal. And I don't know. I think they're a fringe band if they have a shitty name. I think they're a fringe big four band if they have a shitty name.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably in that second tier if they don't have a great name. You're right. This elevates them to that upper echelon. And so does album titles like Rain, Blood, and South of Heaven. Like South of Heaven is so like perfect for a name for a thrash metal band, right?
Yeah.
Like that. How you can't beat that. Like they're obviously talking about hell without saying it. It's perfect. It's just great.
Awesome.
So they were good at naming things more than just themselves.
It's almost like they earned the name. Like their music is great and they have a great name, but if the band sucked and they had a great name, it's like you're not living up to your own band name. So they're able to. I mean, that's what the segment's all about. But at the end of the day, right?
I was just looking up all their album names, and they have their 2001 release, "God Hates Us All." When
Might
I
be
worked
true.
at college radio, the big release, which came out on 6/6/06, so June 6, 2006, was "Christ Illusion,"
Nice.
and then the 2009 release, "World Painted Blood."
Oh man.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Slayer's very on. All those names are very on brand with
Yes.
with Slayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that when we said we were going to do the segment, that was the first band that came to mind.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yep. And you're right. I don't think they're in that. Then the name definitely elevates them to that next tier, for
Yeah.
sure.
Because they've had some duds. Like I looked at their Discog, and I mean, I have not heard every album, but like that Diabolus and Music album, I definitely heard in the early 2000s. It came out in '98, and that album stinks. And everyone's allowed to like put out duds, but
Yeah, it happens.
yeah,
Saint Anger, right? We all like Metallica, but maybe not that. And honestly, people shit on Load and Reload. I don't actually hate those, but that's just me.
I know. I see that. all
yeah,
the
those
time.
are
I'm
low
like,
key,
really?
like
Not bad,
decent,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Nate, right?
Is it my turn again?
Yeah, it's your turn again. Yeah. Draw it out, bro.
There's only
Draw
3
it
of
out.
us, man.
Nate's hints. Unless that guy doing work outside wants to come. Go for it, bro.
This one, I don't know why it fits. I guess it's because the sound. It's a kind of a weird band in terms of different sounds and vibes, and it's hard to throw them into a category. But I guess it's like folk music. Iron and Wine. This name, if you know the band, for whatever reason, it fits perfectly. It's kind of indie, so you got the wine thing going on. Iron, it's obviously something that has the connotation, no matter what, to like a craft. And I just really thought, ever since I saw the name, I was like, I'll check it out. I was a big wine guy at the time, and then I saw the music, and I saw them live, and they're great live, or he's great live. He's one of those people that like named the band, not himself, so it seemed more like, confusing and something you want to dig a little bit deeper to figure out. But yeah, he named the band after taking supplements after like filming. I guess he was like filming as like a art student or something, and it was like beef, iron, and wine, and he just took the latter, iron and wine, and named his band that. But based on how the band sounds, it's like it actually is good fit.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Beef and iron, not as good.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, anything with beef, it's like, you got beef, bro?
Yeah.
But I really like this band. I really like him, and the name just fits. It's like that crafty indie hipster type fit. That's like, all right, this is a good fit. Yeah. Anything else, like you said, beef and wine would be like, eh.
Beef and anything, you're right, it's not gonna work.
Tone, remember that band? Like, was it Rope and Shovel or something that we were
Yeah,
we were ripping on?
That's it's not gonna work either. That sounds terrible. The music might be good too, but you got to have a good name, right? Like it does help to have a good name. Some people overcome them. We've talked about that in the past, but yeah, it's got to be. And Iron and Wine does sound.
Shovels and
right.
Rope. I'm sorry, Shovels and Rope.
Shovels and Rope.
Iron and Wine does sound like that type of band, that indie kind of folky, kind of mysterious. I want to know more about this situation for sure.
Yeah,
the singer has to have a beard with a name like that.
Pretty much.
And he does.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah. He has an epic beard. Yeah, exactly. That's why it fits. It's like all things came together. Iron, Wine. That's my band. I'm going to name it Iron and Wine. Boom. Yeah. So, yeah, not a whole lot of backstory on it. Just like, it just seemed like it was one of the few that came right to mind. It's like Iron and Wine. I don't know why that one works. Because it just works for the sake of its simplicity and the fact the music isn't really any genre per se. And Iron and Wine are kind of, two edible things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you go
Some
to
iron.
that State Theater show in like 2011, 2012?
Yep, I was there.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was at that one.
It was a great show. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that's
was a state show.
He's kind of an out there dude, right? He just like talks about random stuff. So also fitting, right? You got to be a space cadet when you have a name like Iron and Wine.
yeah, probably that would make sense. Yeah, definitely. And I do like the mysterious piece of like, I'm gonna name my band, which just me, but I'm gonna name the band and like give it a name and like make people go digging to figure out how this works.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, when they go live, you can't just be. It's not just one person. If they have other parts of their band and music, then yeah, there'll be other people doing stuff. But that's adds to the mystery and adds to the name, I think, too.
Well, it's a psyche thing because it takes your attention away from an individual and brings it more to a group of people, or even beyond that, because it's Iron and Wine. It's two tangible things, and you're like, okay, so what's the music? Rather than like, my name is so and so, and you're like, okay, so it's all gonna be on you.
My name is
so.
Kid.
You know what it reminds me of is City and Color.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
yeah.
very
is
similar. I love them too. Yeah.
Dallas Green of Alexis on Fire, and it's just named after Dallas City Green color, city and color.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I didn't know that
City and
either.
Color
and
is awesome. That was a show that was going to happen this spring, I think, and we didn't get it because of COVID. Fuck, sorry.
Yep.
Dude, I saw them. Was it last year in Maine when I was home at the State Theater?
Yeah, they've come a bunch. Yep.
You were at the one.
Probably
That was
2 or 3
show was
years ago.
amazing. I love City and Color.
Yep.
Dallas Green looks exactly like a friend of ours too, which is kind of funny. We're like, oh man, you're that City and Color guy. He's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
a good pull, Nate.
Yeah, I like that.
I wouldn't have thought of them, much like I didn't think of The Cure.
Cool. All right, am I up?
You are up.
Yep.
So, similar vein to Nate, the band is one person but has a band name.
Dashboard Confessional.
No, let's.
Although he is a band
No.
now. He is a band.
Yeah, he's back. Yes, you're right. We talked to his bandmate the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's similar music. I would put it in that kind of
Bon
indie
Iver.
kind of, yep, you got it.
Nice.
Bon Iver. Yep.
Sweet.
So, do you guys know how the name came about?
I have no idea.
Yeah. So, here I got it right here.
We're all about the education here on the pod.
Yeah, he it's Justin Vernon, right? He's Bon Iver. Went back to his dad's cabin in Wisconsin and started he got really sick. He had mononucleosis, which is mono, as people know, the kissing disease, hepatitis. And he was really sick living in this cabin, putting some music together here and there, but with a liver situation, started watching this show called Northern Exposure. And when it snows in, I think, Alaska, a place like that, they say Bon Hiver, which is good winter. And he just dropped the H because HIVER looked like liver and he had liver problems. So he was like, I'm just going to drop the H.
Wow.
So Bon Iver is how Bon Iver was born. And it means good winter. And does the name not fit the music perfectly?
Oh,
Perfect.
Man. Yeah.
Like, I don't think there could be a better. I mean, Justin Vernon also would fit that. But, singer-songwriter Justin Vernon and, Brooding and Cold Weather and that stuff. But Bon Iver fits it perfectly. And,
Perfectly. Yeah.
And Nate, I know you've seen them, Nate, right?
I've seen him a few times, or them. But
Yeah, him or
it's
them.
funny you say that with the winter winter thing. So the first time I heard Bon Iver was in the winter, and it felt like it just like it was in Maine actually, and it was like a really pretty heavy snowfall winter, and I was like, man, this like almost like was painted for this picture right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that self-titled record. Is one of my favorite records of all time, with the song Perth. And
Perth, yep, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's on. It's already on the list. If you guys, I don't do this very often, but I did start putting the list together today with my stuff just to make it easier down the road. Don't go snooping if we're getting ready to record, because you might know what my people are. But
Holocene.
yeah, I can put that on there. I haven't. I needed another song, so that will be the other one probably.
The music video for Holocene is one of my favorite cinematography works of art that I've ever seen in my whole life. It's just like so beautiful. It actually brings me to tears most times I watch it, because it's just so well done. But the song's so beautiful already.
Yep. Agreed.
And I've always just been drawn to someone that has such a good way of putting a visual to a song, and that video is just like an absolute masterpiece. I would recommend anyone to jump on YouTube and just tune out and just watch that video, and it's just so nice. It's so cool to see, and the music's insanely beautiful.
That record's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
Self-Titled is my favorite Bon Iver record when going back and listening to them. And we were gonna see him in July, but
Yeah.
and those tickets they're still postponed. So maybe someday. Not to talk about the Cure again, but
Nate, it's not limited to the videos too, because the Blood Bank EP has I think it has a snow on the cover, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And the song Blood Bank I'd have to look it up, but it references winter. Like, it just, the visual on the cover matches the lyrics. I'd have to look it up.
It's a great song.
Yep.
Third Eye Blind covers that song, right?
I don't know. They may have.
Yeah, just Stephen Jenkins covers that. Yeah, dude, that's a great song. Great band name. But it's funny you say that his name as a songwriter actually would fit as well. He's just
I
got
think
a
it
good
would.
name. Justin Vernon's a good name. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So who's Twan? You got number 2?
Yeah, number 2. So I've been kind of wrangling with which one to go first. I'll save the obvious one for last.
Okay.
And this one might be obvious too, but so this one is legacy punk hardcore band, I guess, more on the punk side, depending on what era. For me, collectively, given all the ingredients, branding, songs, band members, legacy, they're a top 30 to 40 band for me. The band name elevates them, which I'll get into. Iconic frontman, who a lot of people don't know is the 3rd or 4th frontman for them. And the logo, in my opinion, is the best band logo of all time.
Is it Black Flag?
It is Black Flag.
Nice.
That fucking band name is perfect.
Yeah, it's
It
awesome.
really is. You're right.
It's perfect. The logo is perfect. So here's why I chose them, and I took a different angle. I chose them because they have iconic albums with Damaged and My War, but they also have a shitload of duds. And it was the Punk Rock MBA, Finn McKenty. He did a little segment on them, and they got weird at the end. Black Flag, there's some Slip It In, and there's a couple late albums. It's just not good. So, they're carried by their early catalog, and they're carried by their band name, and they're carried by the logo.
Yeah.
And Rollins is the 3rd or 4th frontman. Keith Morris was the original frontman who went on to start Circle Jerks.
Rollins is probably the best known, right?
For sure. And the best material is with him. Nervous Breakdown was the first EP with Morris, which was great. But then Damaged and My War, those are the best albums, I think. After that, and Rollins was on a couple other albums, but Rollins is the most known.
Yep. He's the one I know, and I'm not a huge Black Flag fan. So, but you're right. The name is perfect. The logo is perfect. It all fits. It's great.
Oh man, the 4 bars.
Yeah, the 4 bars. You go into Newbury Comics, you go into any downtown LA or wherever on the West Coast, you're gonna find a Black Flag tee, and most people associate them with Rollins.
Yep.
And they might not know that was just a portion of their time as a band. He was only in the band for 5 years.
That's it?
Yeah. 81 to 86, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I knew he wasn't the only front man that they had, but I would have thought he'd have been in the band. If you just said hey Tony, when was Henry Rollins in Black Flag? I would have been I don't know, 87 to 93. That would have been my guess.
Yeah.
Or 95, something like that.
But I hate to say it, but it's their name and logo that keep them relevant in 2020.
Agreed.
It's not the catalog, because the good part of the catalog is pretty small, and that's coming from someone who loves them. They've I think they outkicked their coverage, to quote Matt Berry, fantasy football fanatics out there. But
no, it's a good call. It's the name, the logo, and their legacy based on a time period. It's Faith No More with Mike Patton, or Dillinger's Escape Plan, when they had a good run of albums, but they weren't always good, and they weren't always actually they're pretty solid, but
Calculating Infinity, that album's perfect. Miss Machine,
yeah, that album's good. But yeah, any record store you go to, it's the Ramones t-shirts, Black Flag t-shirts, Pink Floyd t-shirts. There's a staple 20 bands that it would be a mistake for the record store not to carry that. In fact, I bought a Black Flag poster at Amoeba before it closed.
Nice.
I have in storage. Yeah.
Talk talked about them playing there, right?
Oh yeah.
I think
right.
If you go back to our episode 7 with Mark of Amoeba, he talked about that, and if you go to the YouTube page, I did find a picture from that for the video. But yeah, he talked about that, and
Didn't
it
he
was
have 3 singers or something.
Say again.
Didn't he have 2 or 3 singers all be?
I think he did. Yeah, it sounded like it. And
that's rare, because I don't think they coexist. Don't quote me on that, but
The picture was cool because it was just a bunch of people. I'll try to find it again and tweet it out. But yeah, that just, you're right, Nate. Go into any record store. There's Black Flag stuff because there needs to be, because people buy it still today in 2020. So when they can go to the record store.
That's one that I don't know. I don't like to be a hater, but some of those late albums stink.
That happens though. I mean,
It
especially
does.
a band that's been around for 40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, in a weird way, I'm happy you say they stink, because Black Flag came to San Diego last winter. They were actually, I think it was just called Flag.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so they'd removed Black for copyright or whatever. But I had the logo or whatever. I'm like, cool, I'm going to see some old songs. And I didn't go. But I'm assuming it wasn't going to be that, maybe it wasn't going to be that great because, well, without Rollins, and I mean, they're kind of older now. I don't really know how that would transpire, but
I think it's one of those things where half the members tore off Black Flag, the other half tore off Flag, and it's just like,
oh, well.
it's almost a cover band.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You just find some guy in the crowd to sing, and
It's like karaoke.
yeah. Hey guys, we're gonna play at what's that little bar that you have near you, Nate? That little like tavern that you
Belly
Up. Yeah, we're at Belly Up tonight. It's just Flag though, so we need a lead singer.
Oh, man. Well, it kind of goes back to the merch thing, because that Black Flag poster, I don't want to call it Amoeba right now, but I'm going to. I'm pretty sure the poster, the poster I got was non-authorized. So it was a counterfeit poster. Like, it was not coming from the licensed. You see, like, this is a nerd thing, but if you go to the corner of the poster, right,
yeah.
you see the copyright, and usually there's copyright Black Flag, copyright whatever distributor they're going through. This one was just like blank, and I'm like, okay. And it was kind of like not so clear. It's kind of like a fuzzy poster. So it was also in a street Amoeba sale. So I think like it's a third party thing.
So
Yeah.
maybe they wanted it that way. Wouldn't that be punk to not have the copyright Black Flag in the bottom right corner? Isn't that anti-establishment?
No, for sure. But I'm just thinking like that's why they're touring now.
Don't
as
shit
Flag.
on Amoeba. We love Amoeba.
No, I'm saying Black Flag's touring because they're not even getting the royalties off that. So they're like, oh shit, we sold all these posters and t-shirts. We're not getting a penny off this. We have to tour.
All right, Nate, you ready for your last one?
All right. Yeah. This one is as simple as it gets. The simplest band name of all time. Any guesses?
Simple Plan.
Nice.
Oh, no, I know. Saliva.
Nope. Saliva's not going in the playlist.
Dishwalla.
No.
All right, go ahead. Tell us. What is it?
One more hint. Come on.
Yeah, give us another hit.
They're old school. Pretty old. Really old.
It's an
OG.
An OG. Not the 90s.
Here you are again on a Friday night with Nate's hints.
Not the 90s.
All right, give it to us, man.
The name of the band is The Band.
Oh, wow.
That actually is a great name for a band. Not gonna lie.
It's a great name for the band, and it fits them perfectly because they are the band. It's almost like I was just up in Lake Tahoe and in this old like cottage from like the 40s or whatever, and they had like movie rentals on VHS. So I rented The Big Lebowski. I'm like, oh, the dude. So this is like the band, and it's like I look at it, it's like, yeah, they are the band. They're just that band.
Yep.
They fit that perfectly, and it's like the simplest name. It's like the Who or Guess Who. It's like, no, they are the band. And they have that famous, farewell film, The Last Waltz, which if anyone hasn't seen that, it's really cool. But yeah, and the first time I heard the band, I remember thinking, oh, this music's really cool. Like, what's the name of them? And it's like The Band. And I remember as a kid or as a child thinking that's like a really dumb name because it's just like gonna get lost easy, and it's just there's no personality to it. And the older that I get, I'm like, no, man, that's perfect because the band. It's like the dude, like they are the band. They're the one. They do it perfectly. And it's just kind of like sing along, jam songs and whatnot. And originally they were called the Hawks, but they ended up working with Bob Dylan. And I guess like journalists and whatever, they didn't have a name at the time. So all the journalism and everything out there just called them the band as like kind of a placeholder. And the band couldn't agree to a band name, so they just stuck with what the media was calling them as the band. So I'm not sure if that was kind of coming off of playing live like Bob Dylan and the band. Sometimes you see something like a solo artist and their band, unlike Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, like they just called the band. So they stuck with it. and I don't know why. I feel like it fits perfectly.
I agree. It's early on too. Like that band comes around today. It's like, oh, you're being weird. Like you're just gonna call yourselves the band. Like this
So
doesn't
true.
work.
Oh my god,
Right?
that's so true.
But if
Yeah.
it's 1965 or whatever, they're like, oh man, that kind of works. There's only a handful of them kicking around, and the way that it came about, Nate, the way you explained that makes sense. We couldn't come up with anything. There's so many people on stage. Let's just stick with what they're calling us. We're the band.
Yeah, we're the band. It just seemed very stoner. Like, yeah, the band.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling us the band. Let's just be the band. All right, we're the band.
I only
Pretty
know
cool.
one song, "The Wait." That's the only song
Yep.
I've ever heard by them.
Great song.
And actually, I have their greatest hits because of that
Great
song.
song.
Nice.
They
Yeah,
cover.
play
They do an amazing Bruce Springsteen Atlantic City cover. Check that out. Maybe
Nice.
it'll be on the playlist. I don't know. We'll see.
Spoiler.
Yep. No, that's a good one, Nate. Especially because it fits them really well, and it fits them really well because of the time frame. So it's like a double layer as far as why that band name is perfect.
It's a reminder to not overcomplicate things. It's like,
Yep.
we're the band.
Why
Like,
aren't
why
they just
try to be?
band then?
Yeah.
Get rid of the.
Well, the other reason why a band in this era wouldn't, I mean, they would never call themselves the band, is like, imagine trying to find them online.
Mhm.
You type in
Oh,
the
yeah.
band shows. It's like you get the who knows what you would
Yeah.
get.
I just tried to, and I got all kinds of crap. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. You guys know who the band is. Come on. Google needs to like fix their algorithm or something.
That's a good
Instagram does too, by the way.
They all do. They're all sideways. That's a good one, Nate. I like that one.
It just made me think when you're typing in band names in Google and stuff, and you have to write whatever the band name is, and you actually have to write the band after it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Always.
You know,
Yeah,
like-
like brand new band. And even then you don't get them. You don't get
Not
them.
always, yeah.
Yeah. And tagging stuff on Instagram for our social media and stuff. It's like sometimes you have to write, what did I do last time? Terror or something. It's like Terror, the band. Like,
Yeah,
not
right.
Terror, like some like hate group or something.
Yeah, right. They're not that. They're just a band. They're the band.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Am I up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Last one. This is a 2-person group. They are not just music. They've done some other stuff, namely one of the guys, but both of them have been in movies and other music videos with other bands and HBO series. One of them got very big in movies, early 2000s, and it's still you could still call him a movie star today.
30 Seconds to Mars?
That's a good guess. I don't like the name, so no.
Me either. I was like,
yeah.
I'm surprised you chose that.
Think of they're more comedy than they are music.
Lonely
But they're
Island.
Tenacious D?
Ooh, Tenacious D, yes. Lonely Island's great
That
too.
was
That's a great
horrible
name.
guess.
But
That
it's a
was
great
horrible.
name. I do like them. And your Andy Samberg is a big movie star. He just put a big movie out. So no, it's Tenacious D, Jack Black, Kyle Gass. They've been around for 25 years, I think. The way that the first song they ever wrote was in 1994. It was Tribute, which we've all heard before. At the time, for the longest time I thought Tribute was for Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
And it does have the same structure as Stairway to Heaven, but it was not for that. It was actually for Metallica's One, which is kind of
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Little nerd tidbit that I found.
Wow.
They were in a comedy troupe together, traveled, didn't like each other at first, became very good friends, obviously, and are still a band technically to today. Jack has been in a bunch of movies. Jack Black has been in a bunch of movies. Kyle's been in those movies too, in bit parts, but like big movies like Shallow Hal and stuff like that. Jack has also been in the Learning to Fly Foo Fighters video.
Oh, yeah.
They're both cleaning the plane, which is kind of cool.
That's right.
Yeah, and they're tight with Dave Grohl. He's the demon in a lot of their videos where the demon shows up, like Tribute or the movie The Pick of Destiny, which is terribly awesome. I don't know if either of you have seen that. It's a great movie, but it's also terrible.
It's been years.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, the first Tenacious D album is awesome, and Tenacious D is a fucking awesome name.
That is
It's an awesome name.
It is. I'm trying to think of like kind of getting back to like The Cure and whatnot. Like without those names, they wouldn't be what they are. I mean, all these bands. I mean, well, not all of them, but
A lot of them.
Tenacious D. Do we know the history on it?
Yeah, so they weren't Tenacious D to start. They were they were a bunch of stuff. They were Pets or Meat. They were Balboa's Biblical Theater. They were the Axe Lords featuring Gorgazon's Mischief. Obviously, those names all suck, and I don't think if they go with one of those, they're still here today, right? They're
No.
probably
Yeah.
not. Still. But Tenacious D. So they went to their first show. They played a couple covers and then they played tribute, and they like pulled the audience those three names in Tenacious D. And Tenacious D didn't win, but they were like, we're going to go with Tenacious D. And that's how they became Tenacious D.
Do we know what the D is?
Defense. Tenacious D. Like basketball.
Tenacious D.
Just playing tenacious defense. That's what it comes from.
Yeah.
And they were friends with David Cross. They were on the Mr. Show with Bob and David
Oh, yeah.
on HBO back in the day. And that's
So
how they ended up
good.
getting their own HBO show, was because Jack and Kyle did some stuff on that show as well.
Good pull.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I mean, I just like the word tenacious. That's one of those words that I always have in my head, like ready to throw out if I'm like, interviewing or something, like, I want to use that word tenacious. It's like in the bank is like a sweet word. So to have it as a band name, it's pretty badass.
Well, we haven't talked a ton about merch tonight, but like, I'd wear a Tenacious D t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That's just a great name.
Did you meet them at Bull Moose Music?
No.
Meet and greet?
No.
I was outside.
wish.
I didn't get in.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were opening for
That's a
Weezer.
show regret for me.
You have what?
I was at that. The meet and greet.
Yeah. Nice, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
almost poorly.
that's a show regret. That show. That's the one I didn't get to. Weezer and them and
Jimmy
Jimmy
World.
World. Yeah, I love all three of those bands. I didn't go.
Show okay.
The logistics of that show were a kind of a shit show. There was such a huge line. I think they just like probably didn't have enough ticket takers, so most of the crowd missed Jimmy Eat World.
Ugh,
I think we came in for like Bleed American in the or
and
the
that's
middle.
for Bleed American, right?
Yeah.
They're touring off that.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I think
sucks.
probably missed the middle at the end of their probably caught the middle at the end of their set.
Ugh.
Yeah, I missed Jimmy Eat World on that show. I saw Tenacious, and I actually didn't go into that Bull Moose meet and greet because of that line you're talking about was wrapped around the block.
The Civic Center,
Crazy.
right?
Yeah.
That was, I think we mentioned this before because we've talked about this show before, but a high school friend of ours went to that meet and greet and signed a bowling pin and gave it to them. Tenacious D.
Oh, that's awesome.
You remember Dan R?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He, instead of asking for things signed, he signed a bowling pin and gave it to them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, I feel like I told that story already. No, okay, so that happened. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And if you know Dan, that makes complete sense.
Does. He's one of the funniest people, maybe
He's so
the
funny.
funniest.
Yeah.
He might be the funniest person I've ever met in my life.
He's
I miss
hysterical.
that guy.
Yeah.
Guy's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Twan, what's yours?
So this one, I don't think we'll chat much about it because it's kind of one of those like mic drop situations where like I know you guys wanted I mean, they're in your wheelhouse like for this segment, but you probably figured the other person would pick them.
90s.
I got nothing.
90s.
Are they OGs?
90s OGs, a lot of lineage with counterculture music.
I don't know, man.
Reunion 2020. We only talk
don't-
about them every week.
Do we really? Shit. We talk a lot, man. I don't know, Nate. Do you?
Reunion. Tool?
Harvard
so that's not a
University.
What is it?
I don't know, man. Tell us.
Rage.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I feel like it's I mean, it's their music on steroids. I feel like the name.
How did neither of us come up with
I don't
that? I'm sorry. You're right. We talk about them every week. We fucking love that band. It's one of the reasons we're all friends. Like,
Oh,
what
man.
the fuck?
It's
All right,
why
go ahead.
it's why I was like, you know what, this will be kind of the mic drop at the end of the episode. Like it's the perfect name.
It is.
Like the name is why I had a long sleeve T-shirt of theirs in '99 as a freshman. Like I love the music, but if they were called like Weezer, I'm not buying their shit.
What about just Wheeze minus the R?
Ween. If they were called Ween, I'm not
Ween.
buying
Yeah,
their
that
shit.
would work too. No, you're right. It is perfect. It fits the music because the music is about raging against the machine.
Yep.
It's kind of funny that was never a band name before them.
Mhm.
It's not like
Yeah.
they're super old. I mean, they're 25 years old, but it's not like they're 27 or 8, whatever it is. But it's not like they were the first counterculture, the first protest type music to come out. I'm kind of shocked that didn't happen beforehand, but it fits them perfectly.
The name is a Inside Out unreleased song.
Mm.
So Zach was just probably like, all right, this name is awesome.
Yeah.
It is
Let's take advantage of it, type of thing.
Yeah. That was his first band, right? Inside Out.
First or
Or
second?
Band before.
Yeah.
Band before Rage.
Yeah, I think he was in Hard Stance first.
It's one of those names that's long, but like doesn't seem long. Rage Against the Machine. Like it has to be that long for it to make sense. You know, it can't be simplified.
Because like there's other 4-word band names like Pigeons Playing Ping Pong.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine.
Very similar, but also
Rage Against the Machine.
Right. Yeah.
Which Nate in the Carolinas, I'm a Pigeons Playing Ping Pong fan now.
Are you?
Yeah. I listened to
that
them.
Ghostbusters track is awesome.
I listened to them on my dog walk last night or 2 nights ago, and it kind of puts you in a vibe. Like if like the sun was setting.
Yep.
I'm decompressing from the day, and the name like wildly kind of works.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I'm backpedaling.
I did the same thing, man. I was like, I don't know, whatever, Nate, cool, whatever. And then I was like, all right, I'll listen to a little. I'm like, ah, shit, he's right. Stop stereotyping.
Hey, they played Port City Music Hall.
They
Shout
did.
out.
We should have gone. He told me to go, and it just didn't work out.
Damn.
Work wise, I would think I was at work till like 10 that night, so there's no chance of me getting there. But I was like, that would be cool. I actually would go see a live jam band show like that for sure, especially in a small venue like that.
Yeah.
So not to bring everybody down at the end. Yeah, Port City closed. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say Pigeons Playing Ping Pong is stealing Rage Against the Machine's thunder right now.
No kidding.
They really are. Yeah. Well, hey, four-word names, man. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The mic drop on this episode is definitely Rage Against the Machine. It is probably the best name for the music, and the fit and the feel of all of it. It just go watch any of the videos that have been popping up online recently. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the only band I can think of that like the name of the band, the songs of the band, and the energy live of the band is consistent through and through.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of another band name that like people usually have a connotation to, which is System of a Down. They have music that are politically charged, but that's not all they are. They have music about and pretty much every subject, which is why they're cool. But you think System of a Down, you're like, oh, is this also Rage Against the Machine? But it's just not.
I was going to say, is System of a Down the Armenian Rage Against the Machine?
Yeah. You think it? I think as an outsider, you think it is, and then
kind
you hear
of
songs. Then you hear
there's
songs.
other ones too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's other ones that ever, you know what I'm talking about. There's other songs that talk about just the most random shit.
Nate,
So,
what
Rage Against the
about
Machine.
what about Lettuce? How do they stack up in terms of the name fitting the sound? And,
That's actually perfect. They're another one that also fits. Speaking of jam bands, Rage Against the
That's
Machine
where
and
my
jam
head
bands in the same segment, guys. I mean, come on.
and The Cure.
And The Cure, yeah, and Tenacious D. I mean, we're all over and Beastie Boys. We're all over the map. This is what we do.
A band.
So we'll repeat this segment for sure, because I get several names on deck, and I think they would have hit equally as good as some of these.
Agreed. Me too.
Yeah.
So that's it for tonight. Yeah, we can wrap it there. Check the socials at Podioslave on Twitter and Instagram. Email us if you want. You got ideas, you got segments, you got bands you like, whatever. Just throw it out there. We do have an idea for a mini segment that's going to get the listeners involved. So check if you follow us on Instagram. We have a decent amount of followers there. Check that soon. We may throw that up on there and see if we can't get a little fan interaction and a tiny segment that we're going to throw together. That might happen in the fairly near future. And then we get an interview or two percolating. Hopefully, you'll catch us again next week. Maybe 2 weeks from now, we have an interview set up. So, yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that. Was a lot of fun, guys.
I think what we found is like a lot of the good segments are repeatable, because it really makes you think, and this was no exception.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Rage Against the Machine. I think that is a mic drop. That's the best one. That might be the best band name of all time, possibly.
It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another one that
Awesome.
could contend, but I'll save it.
Save it. Yeah. Don't tell us. It's always fun to react too. Like I not knowing what you guys are coming to the table with. It's always fun to we have an idea, but I'm like, oh, I'm not going to pick that one because Nate might pick that one. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That's funny because we both probably, or all of the three of us had things written down. We're like, no, you're going to do it, so I'm not going to do it.
I'm sure we did, and they'll come up at some point, right? I mean, they're there. We're gonna do them. But
Yeah.
cool.
No one picked, no one picked the band, which is good.
no one picked Tenacious D. Well, I did. All right. Well, check us next week, guys. We'll be back next week with a new one.
Sounds good, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace,
Have a good one. Cheers, everyone.